Hello everyone, my name is Praveen. Today I'm talking about enterprise structure in SAP MM. What is enterprise structure? Enterprise structure is nothing but how your organization is structured. So there will be various organizational objects defined in a given hierarchy. Let's see what is that. Okay. In SAP, there are certain terms which are specific to SAP only. So like here, some of the examples are given here. Client, company code, purchasing organization, plant, storage location, shipping point, etc. etc. Okay. So since we are discussing about the MM module, so our focus will be on MM model enterprise structure. So it's not that each module has its own enterprise structure. Enterprise structure is only one thing. So it contains all the objects of all the modules. Say like which is the company, which is the sales area, which is the division. All these things are defined in an enterprise structure. So we are only focusing on the MM part of the enterprise structure. So generally, these are the terms used in SAP: client, company code, purchasing or plant, storage location, and shipping point. So we'll see one by one what are these. What is a client? A client is a corporate entity. So we can say it's a corporate entity. Actually, it has got a technical meaning also. The moment you log into SAP, that itself is a client. So it's as if you have entered a corporate area or into a corporate group of industry. Okay. So in a client, so next is you will have company codes. So company code is nothing but individual companies. Say like if I take example of client, it will be like a Tata group of industry. And when it comes to company code, I can give the example of Tata Steel, Tata Motors, Tata Chemicals, TCS. Okay, likewise. Okay, so each company code is nothing but a company that what we understand normally. Remember, there is a organization unit called as company also in SAP, which is not relevant for MM people. It's relevant for this finance people. Okay, don't get confused with company and company code. Okay, so for all practical purposes, we should think normally what we say each company, that is Tata Chemicals, is a company code in SAP. Okay, so company code is what? So it has its own this financial statements, say like profit and loss, and when this balance sheet accounts, this balance sheet statements, and that is the entity which deals with the government and the shareholders, that they have to generate all these reports. Okay, and you have to map these company codes in SP as per the requirement of this business. I just gave you example of Tata group. Okay, within that Tata Motors, Tata Steel are the company codes. Next is purchasing organization. So what is a purchasing organization? It is nothing but a department in your organization which takes care of purchasing. So example is you may have a team that is taking care of imports, and another team that takes care of domestic purchasing. In that case, you can create two purchasing organization in SAP. Okay, and the relevance of purchasing organization in your day-to-day transaction in SAP is that, for example, whenever you are buying anything, say like when you're creating a purchase order, the system will ask for which purchasing organization you want to buy the goods or services. So in all the purchasing documents, you have to specify a purchasing organization. So you have to define during the implementation in the backend. Next comes plant. So what is a plant? Normally what we understand, plants are nothing but the factories where the goods are produced. Well, that is true in SAP, but also in SAP there is another meaning. It's not necessary that the goods should be produced. The services can also be provided. Example is that you are a forwarding agent or you are a logistic transporter. Okay, then in that case also you have to create a plant if you are using SAP. Okay, so plant is used across all the modules. It's not just specific to MM. It is a logistic organization unit. So you have to, whenever you produce the goods in production order also, that you have to tell the SAP that for which plant, in which plant you are producing these goods. When you are creating purchase order, the system will ask for which plant you are buying these goods. Okay, so there are many logistic units in sales also. If you are creating a sale order, the system will ask for which plant you are creating this order. Okay, so plant is very important logistic organized unit, and it needs to be mapped carefully. So you may have one or more plant. So in Tata Motors example, they may have three factories. So I can create three plants in SAP. And of course there are other aspects attached to plants also, something called as um, logical organization unit, which may not be there physically, but you may have to create in SAP, that we are not discussing now in detail. Okay, this is just an introduction to enterprise structure. So okay, the next one is storage location. A storage location is what, where we stock the goods, we keep the this goods. Okay, in SAP you have to define storage locations. Again, it's as per the business requirement. Sometimes there may be only one storage location if it's a very small company, and sometimes it may be 10, 15 storage locations if it's a bigger company. Example is, for raw material that you may have one stores, and for finished goods you may have another stores, and for consumables or miscellaneous items you may have another store. In this case, you have to define three storage location. Okay, and it's got relevance in other stock movements and all. So whenever you're moving the goods or receiving the goods, storage location is very important. That system will ask in which storage location you want to receive the goods or issue the goods. Next comes the shipping point. This is a logistic organization unit. So whenever you are issuing goods or delivering the goods to the customer, or you're transferring stock from plant to plant, the system will ask from which uh, shipping point you want to issue. Okay, so it's a mandatory one. Even if you don't have any shipping point in your factory as such, still you have to create one shipping point. So all these things what I showed you, plan, store location, shipping point, this purchasing organization, they are all mandatory thing. Okay, without which you cannot do the transactions. So there are many other organizational unit, as I told you earlier, that in finance also, costing also, HR, plant maintenance, sales. So that we are not discussing, that is out of scope of this video. So we are only focusing more on organization units. Okay, this is a typical enterprise structure in this slide. So you have the client, a three-digit code is there for that, and under that, within that this corporate group, we have two companies, as we call it as company codes in SAP. It has got 4-digit unique code. Unique means this code cannot be repeated in the entire client, entire system. Okay, similarly plants are there with 4-digit codes. Again, these are also unique across client. That means you cannot repeat the codes. So, and you have storage locations under each plant. Okay, and these coding is unique within the plant. Only for storage location, that restriction is not there, that uh, you cannot create another thing within the plant. It is unique, you cannot create, but in another plant you can have the same code. Okay, maybe it's it's because it's not that critical as plant and company codes. Okay, this is just an example of a Tata group that I mentioned earlier. So that there are two company codes. In this, two plants are there. In each, in the one is Tata Motors, identified by code 1000 company code, 2000 company code. So there are two plants in both the things. In this case, the purchasing is taken care by purchasing org 1100, which buys for both the plants. In this Tata Steel case, the the purchasing is done by 0001 purchasing organization, which is specific to plant. We say plant level. This we say this one 1100 as the company code level. So here it is plant level. Why? Because it is it buys the metal only for plant one, that is 2100. So for the plant two, then who will buy the goods or services? It is another purchasing org called 1,000,000. Okay, this is at corporate level. That means it can buy metal for any plant in the organization. So this is another slide about the purchasing orgs. There are some specialized purchasing activities like central purchasing, distributed purchasing. This is the same thing about the company code specific, plant specific, and corporate level. This purchasing examples. This is just to show that how enterprise structure will be there outside MM. So plants and store location we have already seen how it was structured. Okay, under that we have the warehouse related organization elements, which is we are not discussing anything in detail about warehouse management because it's out of scope. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching the video.